Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Lee Thornquist from Edge of Comfort, and today I'm at the Chicago Travel and Adventure Show. It is a two-day event with many travel companies and exhibitors and trips to help people get some inspiration and travel better throughout 2019 and beyond. So today I'm actually going to the Arizona booth and going to be talking with one of their winemakers about Arizona's wine industry and their region and why it's such a cool place. Also, while we're here, we're doing a tasting, and I'd like to introduce my good friend Dave, and he's actually going to be doing these tastings. So in the video, I'll start by talking with the winemaker, Matt, and then Dave will hop in and do some of the tasting. So can't wait to show you, and thanks for watching, and hope you enjoy.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it. Hey everyone, today we are speaking with Matt Raica from the Arizona Stronghold Vineyards. And Matt, thank you for letting us talk with you today.
Definitely, thank you.
I think when you find out a little bit that Arizona even has a pretty expansive wine industry, a lot of people are surprised. They think of desert associated with Arizona. So can you tell me a little bit more about Arizona's wine industry?
Yeah, definitely. So when you think of the state of Arizona, what most people think of is the Phoenix or Tucson area. So you're thinking of that low valley of the sun, super hot, dry. Arizona's terrain is so varied that when you get further north into the Verde Valley, which is an hour and a half north of Phoenix, it's where our winery is located, or down south of Tucson into Wilcox or Sonoyta areas, you're up at 4,000 or 5,000 feet in elevation. You have a much more similar climate to, say, winemaking regions in Argentina or Italy or France.
Oh, wow.
And you get a lot better water tables and a lot better soils for growing grapes. So we actually have terrain that's very similar to some of the prime growing regions in the world, an hour and a half outside of the Phoenix metro area. You know, we do have challenges. It is Arizona, so we still do get some high temperatures that we have to deal with. And we get the monsoon season, which is not always fun. But it's still a great wine growing region. I want to say it's the 8th largest growing state at this point. We have over 1,000 acres of vineyards and over 100 wineries.
Over 100 wineries.
Yep.
How does the Arizona climate play into the wine growing process or harvesting? And what about the climate in Arizona and the geology or geography really makes the wine there so unique?
We have overall kind of a lighter bodied style wine that we produce, and that's due to our high temperatures, our high elevations, and then we have a mix of soils. We have everything from very granitic volcanic soil to kind of almost like ancient seabed soils to a lot of just erosion soils coming off down the mountains. So we have a great mix where we can grow a lot of different varietals in soil that's really suited to the growing of that. We grow everything from Cabernet, Merlot, Chardonnay, kind of your usual suspects of wine, to some very rare and interesting varietals like Malvasia Bianca, which is a white wine from Tuscany. And then kind of a lot of our big wines are southern France and Italy is what we're kind of have become known for. So our Sangioveses, our Syrahs, our Grenaches, Mourvedres, those sort of things.
One last question about kind of the region as a whole. You mentioned those three kind of main regions where you guys do grow your grapes. Can you tell me a little bit more about these regions and maybe the wine trails that you have going on there?
Yeah, definitely. So our winery is located in just outside of Cottonwood. Our tasting room's in Old Town Cottonwood. That's in the Verde Valley. It's north of Wilcox. Up there we're in the process of getting our own AVA right now.
What is an AVA?
AVA is an American Viticultural Area. So it's a federal designation that the grapes grown in an area and the wines produced there have something significant or distinctive about them from other areas. We're working on that for the Verde Valley right now. The other two regions are Wilcox, which has an AVA. They were the second AVA in the state. That's the largest growing region. About 70% of the state's grapes come from there. In a certain area called the Kansas Settlement is where most of the vineyards are located. A lot of Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre planted there, as well as a whole bunch of other varietals that different vineyards have planted and work with. Our estate vineyard is located north of Wilcox. It's called Bonita Springs. It's a little bit cooler climate. It's a little bit different soils, and we focus on Bordeaux varietals up there. So that's where all of our Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot come from. The other wine growing region that we as a winery don't work with as much, but is still a great region, is called Sonoita. Sonoita was the first AVA in the state of Arizona. Lots of great wines coming out of there as well.
So tell me a little bit more about your story. You spent time in New Zealand, I believe, and some other places around the world, studying wine and kind of enhancing your education through that. So, how did you get started in winemaking and end up in Arizona?
So I started making wine just shy of 10 years ago. My previous career was in the Marine Corps. Got out of the Marine Corps, moved to Seattle, Washington. I was an interested wine drinker and hung out in the Woodinville warehouse district where a lot of Washington's winemaking industry is. Became really good friends with a winemaker, asked if I could help out one day because I wanted to understand how this happened. Helped out for a weekend turned into an apprenticeship turned into an assistant winemaker position. I was with him for about 5 years and said, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to learn more, do something different. So I went to New Zealand. I spent about 5 months down there working a harvest in Hawke's Bay on the North Island.
Okay.
I spent a summer in Italy just bouncing around and working at wineries basically for a bowl of pasta a day. Then I moved to the Napa Valley, and I worked in the Napa Valley for 2 years doing internships and pruning jobs and just kind of bouncing around and learning different things from different people. And after about 2 years there, I got recruited to come down to Arizona and take over as the winemaker for Arizona Stronghold.
Terrific.
And I've been with them just shy of 2 years now.
Throughout your apprenticeships and internships you've had, what was something maybe challenging or surprising that you really had no idea before?
Every region makes wine differently. Even the same varietals, making Cabernet Sauvignon, everybody has their own little ways they do things. And I think that was the biggest challenge for me, was adapting to a different style. I also think it was the greatest education that I got out of it because for instance, Cabernet Sauvignon, I've now had the opportunity to make Cabernet Sauvignon in Washington, in New Zealand, in Italy, in Arizona, and in California in the Napa Valley. So I've been able to take all of these different techniques and tricks that I've learned from all these phenomenal winemakers that have taken the time to teach me, and I can now apply the ones that I like to the style of, say, Chardonnay that I make.
Let's talk about Arizona Stronghold a little bit more.
Yeah.
We, doing some research online and looking at different wineries in Arizona, it was consistently ranked in many websites' top 10 lists. So what about, what makes Arizona Stronghold such a special vineyard and winery?
Arizona Stronghold, we're about 10 years old now. We're the largest winery in the state of Arizona. And I think what really has helped Arizona to become so popular is, one, the ownership that we started out with and the winemaking team that the winery started out with in the first place. And then Arizona Stronghold has consistently been focused on quality over anything else. So even as we've grown to become the largest winery, we still stay extremely consistent with our winemaking processes. Our tasting room staff are a huge part of why we're ranked so well. We constantly have amazing tasting room people who are extremely knowledgeable about the wines, extremely knowledgeable about the processes that we use to make them. They all come in during harvest to help in the cellar and see and feel the grapes and the wines and jump into the ferments and stop the grapes. And then we continually educate everybody in the company on everything that everybody does. So our tasting room staff know everything that we do in the winery. They know the wine regions. Our cellar crew that work for me are all extremely intelligent, well-trained winemakers in their own right. Some of them have their own labels. So it's a very consistent product from start to finish.
What do you have for us here today? What did Arizona Stronghold bring to show off kind of at the
all kinds of stuff.
All kinds of stuff. Okay, so are there two or three that you are really maybe proud of, or ones that you really enjoy the taste of?
So I would say probably my 3 favorite on the lineup right now, starting with the first down here is a wine that we call Tazi.
Tazi?
Tazi is a dry, aromatic white wine made from a grape, predominantly from a grape called Malvasia Bianca. Malvasia Bianca is originally a Tuscan grape. It's very aromatic, makes a very minerally dry wine, but it's not well known in the United States. I think there's a little bit of plantings up in Michigan. There's a little bit in California, but otherwise it is a very predominant white grape in the state of Arizona. You'll be hard pressed to find a winery who doesn't make at least one of them. After that, probably my favorite wine to make, and it stems from my time in Italy and my love of Italian culture, is a wine we call Mengus. Mengus is a super Tuscan blend. This one's the 2017, and it's approximately a third Sangiovese, a third Cabernet Sauvignon, and a third Merlot, which is a very typical super Tuscan blend. After that, probably one of the wines that I'm most proud of out of the 17 vintage as well is our Dala Merlot. Dala in Chiricahua Apache means one. So that's, for us, a single vineyard, single varietal wine. We make 3 of them, a Chardonnay, a Cabernet Sauvignon, and then 2017 was my first vintage with Arizona Stronghold, and it's the first year that we decided to produce a Dala Merlot. So it's a new wine on the marketplace for us. It's doing very well, and I'm pretty proud of it. It came out pretty nice.
Let's do some tastings.
All right, so we'll start you out with our Tazi, which is predominantly Malvasia Bianca, and it's got a few other different varieties blended into it as well. A little bit of Pinot Gris, a little bit of Viognier, and those are just to kind of fill out the profile of the wine. This one's meant to be a very dry, crisp, aromatic, so a similar type of wine to a Pinot Gris or a Sauvignon Blanc. Good crisp acidity, some minerality to it. This is a wine that I say, I want this with oysters.
Yeah.
And it's horrible because you can't get good oysters in Arizona, so you have to take a bottle, go to the coast. Next, let's jump into one of my favorites. So this wine's called Mengus. It's about a third Sangiovese, a third Cabernet Sauvignon, and a third Merlot. So some good bright cherry, a little bit like a cedar box tobacco, like a humidor smell. All very typical varietal characters for all 3 of those wines. Yeah, good darker fruits on the palate, good
Absolutely.
structure. So last we'll pour for you. This is our largest production for this line of wines. This is a wine we call Nachis. Nachis is a Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre blend. It's kind of what we jokingly call an Arizona Rhone. It's all Rhone varietals, and then we splash some Petit Syrah on it just to make it a bit bigger and bolder. Syrah is known for being a big, bold, kind of spicy, peppery grape.
Okay.
This is kind of like Syrah on steroids. Really great dark color from it, real spicy, and we kind of splash a little bit on there to help with the color and structure development. Okay. Definitely a much bigger, bolder wine.
Definitely, it pops a lot.
For some reason, this goes great with the little taco truck, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the tasting. The lineup looks great. We've learned a lot here today.
If you had to give any of our novice wine drinkers at home who maybe want to learn a little bit more or kind of increase their knowledge about wine, what would be some easy tips or resources you maybe point them to?
First off, find your local wineries. Every state in the U.S. has at least one now. And most of them are making wine from grapes grown in your own state. There's some phenomenal books out there on wine education, more than I could even name right now. Some of the more technical ones, Jancis Robinson, who's a phenomenal wine critic, has a book. There's an Oxford Dictionary of Wine that if you're a real nerd and you want to read a dictionary, that's there. To be honest, the best book to start out, especially if you know nothing about wine, is go to Barnes & Noble or get on Amazon and buy Wine for Dummies. It honestly is a really great book to give you that super basic knowledge. But something else I also tell a lot of people is don't try to understand wine. And what I mean by that is, you'll go to a winery and you'll read tasting notes. and you'll get wine magazines, and they're full of all these big notes, and people will start tasting, and they'll say, "Oh, I got a Cabernet, but I don't taste the leather, and I don't get the pepper in a Syrah." They don't see those notes. Don't worry about it. Try the wine. If you like it, you like it. That's all that matters.
If someone at home is watching this and they want to try some of these wines, are they able to purchase these? You guys distribute throughout the country?
If you're not in Arizona, we do have some distribution on the East Coast. We don't currently distribute too much outside of the state. We are expanding in that area. But our website does have all the wines that I have here today available on the website, as well as some of our more premium bottlings of single vineyard, single varietal stuff. Or give us a call. We'll ship you whatever you want.
All right, terrific. Well, I think you got a lot of people coming here to taste the wine that already grown quickly. People want to get their day drinking on right away.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And if you guys want to find out more, azstronghold.com. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Wine is meant to be shared. The entire point of wine is to share with friends and family. So don't think that you have to take it too seriously.